Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron. It is the player ratings. Yeah, we're going to get through this one fairly quickly for a multitude of reasons. One being that it is nearly 11 o'clock. Two being that I am in work at 8 o'clock in the morning and need to go to bed. And three being that it's going to be extremely difficult to rate any of these players because whilst I do feel a little bit sorry for them, because generally I just think that every single one of them, barring maybe a couple, are just abysmal footballers. And I truly mean every single word of that. And I'm not saying that in a nasty way, and I'm not saying that in a, disrespectful way. I'm not saying that in an angry, upset way because we've lost a game of football. I'm saying it as what I believe to be the truth. I genuinely believe that 99% of this squad are just truly awful footballers. And yeah, that was on show once again today. A 45 minutes in the first half of a lot of effort, a lot of grit, a lot of fight, but an absolute void of any idea because the manager isn't good enough, or any application and quality because the players aren't good enough, and the second 45 minutes, which, if I'm being honest with you, is a complete blur. I can remember a couple of the Newcastle goals. There's a couple I can't really remember. I'm not really bothered. I'm not going to sit here and intrinsically analyse every single Newcastle goal in the same way as I'm not going to sit here and intrinsically analyse every single, the Everton goal, the corner. All I'm going to do effectively is sit here and just discuss of how bad Everton were today and how bad Everton have been for a number of months. But anyway, we've done the instant match reaction. That was half an hour of pure I was going to say emotion then, but probably lack of emotion because of how much this football club have drained me over the recent months. This is the player ratings. If you don't know what the show is, if you're not familiar with it, it's the show where we give every player a rating between 1 and 10, 1 being Ben Godfrey, 10 being nobody. But yeah, we're just going to jump straight into it. As I said, I've pretty much done all the talking on the instant match reaction. I just want to get this one out the way. Jordan Pickford, Jordan's getting a 2. Yeah, as I said, the third, fourth, and fifth goal, or second, third, and fourth goal, are a complete blur to me. I can't really remember whether Jordan's a fault. I can't really remember whether Jordan can do much for it. The first goal was at the other end, so I didn't see it. Originally, I thought it was a spill from Jordan Pickford, something he should do much better with. Again, I haven't seen the replay. Maybe that's a little bit harsh. Maybe it's a defensive error. Again, it really doesn't mean anything in this context. I thought his distribution was atrocious. I thought his attitude seemed poor. I just don't think he was very good. And yes, individually, he didn't make many mistakes. And yes, you could say that he wasn't at fault for any of the goals. But he's not getting an 8, 9, 7 out of 10 because he wasn't at fault for any of the goals. His distribution tonight was abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. It was shocking, and he was as bad as anybody else, and that's the reason he's getting the rating that he's getting. Always seems to try and play up to the crowd as well, doesn't he, Jordan? Always seems to try and give it a bit of that, a bit of this, a bit of the other, when in reality, just get your head down and focus on the game of football. It doesn't really make much sense to me. And again, I don't really want to pick Jordan out because, I don't particularly think that's fair to do that. But I mentioned him in the previous video. I just don't feel like Jordan Pickford has a connection with the Evertonians. I don't feel like he has a connection with Everton. I feel like he just has an attitude of, I am going to work every day. And that is sad because he's been here for a long enough time to have a connection, to have that that feeling, that emotion, that want, that fight, that desire. And I just don't feel like he has it. I just genuinely feel like he goes to work every day and that's it. And, regardless of what happens at work, once the day's done, and he forgets about it and he moves on to the next one. And he did make a really good save to deny Joe Willock from what would have been an absolutely fantastic goal, but I just watched us lose 4-1, so he's not getting any higher than that. Vitaly Mykolenko, you can get a 4. Yeah. In fact, he can get a 3 as well. Again, not a very good footballer. I've said this before and I'll say it again. We have a combination at this football club of not very good footballers, and I'm being nice in saying that. There are many different adjectives and words I could use other than that, but not very good footballers and not very good footballers that don't care. And I think Vitaly Mykolenko falls into the category of just a not very good footballer. I don't think it's through a lack of effort. I don't think it's through a lack of trying. I don't think it's through a lack of fight. I just genuinely don't think he's very good. Positionally, I don't think he's very good. On the ball, I don't think he's very good. Generally, I just don't think he's very good. Again, today he showed it. He was completely ran ragged by that Newcastle forward line. I don't think he was atrocious in terms of any individual mistakes, but his passing was poor. He just doesn't offer anything for me, and we need more. Realistically, the position that we're in, the situation we're in, we need our fullbacks to be bursting up and down the line. We need our fullbacks to be putting crosses in. We need our fullback to be providing. And if they're not doing that, we need them to be spot on defensively. And I know nothing really come down his side, nothing lethal come down his side tonight, but he's just not enough for me. He just isn't enough. And maybe that's harsh because I'm judging him overall rather than just on this one game of football, but he just isn't enough. For me, he just isn't. Into the centre-backs then. Let's have a little look. Michael Keane. Two. I think in the first half he worked hard, put himself about. Again, I've not seen the first goal again because I was at the other end of the stadium, so I don't know whether or not he was at fault for that. I don't know whether or not that's something that we can blame him for. Second half, he was as bad as everybody else, really. Everyone gets a naught for the second half performance because it was just a complete and utter tragedy. And Michael Keane allowed, 3 comfortable goals to be conceded when realistically Newcastle didn't really have to work for it. They didn't really have to work. They didn't really have to exert much. They didn't really have to do much, and that was because the two centre-backs effectively decided that they weren't going to put a foot in, they weren't going to put a tackle in, they weren't going to chase, they were just going to stop, basically. Yeah. Two. Tarkowski next to him, same. Thought he was pretty solid in the first half. Thought he put himself about, thought he worked hard. In fact, Tarkowski can get a 3. I thought he was slightly better than Keane in the second half. Still, massively at fault for us being absolutely ripped to shreds for the second, third and fourth goal. But I suppose it's difficult being James Tarkowski and being in his position because he is a solid, okay defender and he is playing with utter garbage. Utter garbage. But yeah. Ben Godfrey at right back. I honestly don't even know if I can give him a rating. I'm going to give him a 1 because I've never not given anybody a rating. When I said earlier about we have 2 types of players at this football club. We have the players that aren't very good at football but will work hard, and the players that aren't very good at football and will not work hard. I feel like whilst Vitaly Mykolenko, the other fullback, falls into the will have a go but it's just not very good, I feel like Ben Godfrey falls into the category at the moment of is not very good and won't have a go. And you know what? I don't blame Ben. I really don't blame Ben. I blame Sean Dyche. There's not a scenario where Ben Godfrey should be playing right back. Never, ever. Even when he's played fullback for Everton in previous seasons when we've done well, it's always been at left back. He's never, ever, ever had a good run, solid run at right back because he cannot play there. And today, he was exposed massively for his position, and his positioning was atrocious. And that, again, is because he's not a right back and he's being played at right back. On the ball, he was poor, and I just feel like in that last half an hour, his application was just abysmal. He stopped. He never mind running or jogging for balls. He stopped walking for balls. There was one that fell right in front of him, and he just stood there still. He couldn't even be arsed going for it. Yeah, he was atrocious. He was really, really bad today, Ben Godfrey. Really bad, and I think this is a decision by the manager that ultimately proves that he's not good enough to be the Everton manager. Because it's not about who he likes. It's not about who he prefers. It's not about whether or not he thinks that Nathan Patterson is the finished article. Nathan Patterson isn't the finished article. We all know that. I know that. You know that. Every one of us knows that Nathan Patterson is not the finished article. We all know that he's probably not very good. Certainly not for what we need. But at least, he's a natural right back. At least positionally, he knows where to put himself. At least he knows ultimately what to where to be. Ben Godfrey doesn't have any of that, and I feel at the moment that he hasn't got the right attitude either, so he's getting a 1. Into the midfield, Garner thought he was the best out of 3. He's getting a 5. Worked hard, put himself about. In fact, he can get a 6. Worked hard, put himself about. Felt a little bit sorry for him, to be honest with you. Think in the first half, he was probably our best player. And in the second half, he still was trying to get about. Obviously, he didn't see the ball anywhere near as much and wasn't anywhere near as effective on the game. But I don't necessarily put that down to him. No real problem with him today. Iwobi, was it Iwobi? Decore, sorry. He's getting a 3. I thought, no, he's getting... Yeah, we've just been beat 4-1 in an absolute must-win, massive game. He's getting a 3, Decore. I thought... It's mad. The whole midfield, I thought Garner was the best. I thought he worked hard, put himself about, had a bit of quality. I thought Decore worked hard, but is just a really bad footballer. And yes, I know he's scored a couple of goals recently and made a couple of chances and been involved in a couple of big moments. But generally, as a footballer, he's not very good. He never looks like he's got control of the ball. He never looks like he's comfortable. He's just generally not very good at football. And I thought Onana was fucking embarrassing. Apologies for swearing, but I thought he was embarrassing from the first minute to the point he come off. So, Decore, I'm going to give a 3. Again, I thought he worked hard, put himself about. Similarly, in the all 3, the second half were completely out the game. First half, I thought Decore worked hard, put himself about. I generally just don't think he's very good at football. I think his decision making is poor. I think his application, his final ball, his product that he produces is poor. Yeah, I just, regardless of ultimately whether or not people think he worked hard or put himself about, it's not enough. It's not enough. And then Onana's getting a 1. I'm not fooled. I'm not fooled by this clapping and the screaming and the shouting to the fans and the this and the that and the other. I'm not fooled. If you don't want to be here, lad, then don't turn up. It's as simple as that. And if you do want to be here, then start running round. Start working hard. And I'm also not falling for he's only just coming back from injury, he's not match fit, X, Y, and Z. He's been out for about 3 weeks. We're not talking about somebody like Dominic Calvert-Lewin who's been out for the whole season and is only just regaining match fitness. He's been out with a small injury for about 2 or 3 weeks. There's no excuse. There's no excuse at all. He's getting a 1. He was abysmal, and quite frankly, if he never plays for Everton again, based on that performance, I won't care. I won't care. And I know he's young, and I know it might be a one-off, but I've seen many of those types of performances from Onana, and they're not good enough. I mean, Lila makes a brilliant point in the comments. Lila says, it's like watching your dying dog being put down. It is, but it's like watching your dying dog being put down slowly. It's like when you're taking your dying dog to the vet to be put down. You know it's going to get put down. You know there's no way out of that. You know it's the poor dog's dying anyway. But it's like we're in that weird stage where you're filling in the forms, or you're in the waiting area, or the vet's asking you some questions about what you're having for your tea to try and lighten the mood. That's where I feel like we are, where we all know what's going to happen. We know what the inevitable is, but it's almost just sort of like get it over with. I overheard my dad next to me saying to the fella behind him, I don't know how much more I can do this for at the moment. I just wish they'd put us out of our misery. It just feels like every week's the same and it's going in the same direction, and I just wish we'd get to it. Do you know how heartbreaking that is? The only reason I'm an Evertonian is because of me dad. The only reason I go every week is because of me dad. The only reason I do this channel is because of me dad. The only reason I have this passion, the love, the hate at times, the feeling for Everton is because of my dad. And I've just heard my dad in the last hour say, I don't know if I can do it anymore. It just feels like the same every week. I just wish we'd get to the day where we go down and then we can deal with it and move on. That's fucking heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. Onana's getting a 1. He was abysmal. And yeah, I don't really care about his clapping and all of that nonsense. Into the forward line of Wobie, 2. Thought similarly to other players, Ben Godfrey, etc. I don't think his application was good enough tonight. I thought, alright, he ran round for a little bit. He tried to make things happen. He tried to run at players, but I just don't think his effort was enough. His application certainly wasn't enough in terms of creatively, but I also don't think his effort was enough. Incredibly frustrating player and one that shouldn't have been on the pitch for as long as he was. But then again, who are you bringing on? Gray, who is similarly, seems like that his application isn't there. McNeil, I give him a 4 again. Falls into the category of not a very good footballer, but works hard. Scored the goal, of course, which was mad. I think he scored directly from a corner. I think that brings him to 5 for the season now, which is our top goal scorer, which is, yeah, worrying. I think we've scored 25 goals and our top goal scorer scored 5. Yeah. We are gone, by the way. We are gone. We're going down. It's as simple as that. Whether people want to admit it or not, we are going down. But at least he worked hard. At least he ran round. At least he gave a little bit. And then Dom, I'm actually going to give Dom a 6. I feel for Dom today. I thought he worked hard. I thought he put himself about. I thought he looked sharp. I thought his goal was brilliant. If it wasn't for the knee, an inch of a knee, it would have been onside and it would have been a great goal. Really well taken. He had a couple of other half chances. One where he tried to Ronaldo chop it inside and he just lost his feet. And that, if he'd have kept on his feet, he'd have got that shot away, likely scored, and that would have been a great goal. I thought he done okay. I thought he worked hard. I thought he battled. I thought, I don't put any of the blame on him. I thought he was the only one today that looked like he had an inch of quality about him. The only one. Onto the subs bench there. Neil Maupay, 2. Got a yellow card apparently. James Garner, 1. Generally just because I don't, NA for James Garner because I don't think he did anything. And Ellis Sims, 2. And I remember him heading the ball. That's it. Look. We're going to leave it there. I'm going to bed. I'm in work in the morning. If you haven't checked out the instant match reaction, please do so. If you have enjoyed this one, please hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Game review will be up tomorrow, so look out for that one as well. But yeah, I don't know. Big thanks for watching. See you after.